Oh, thanks for joining us, Carl. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Joe, Carl, and Scott NCAA Selection Show. This is our fourth year, right, Carl?
Yes, 4 years. Good.
Fourth year doing this bracket, and we decided to add Scott to the marquee because he's really the only one that does any real work. So we're going to get moving right away, and we're going to start in the South region with the number 1 overall seed Florida Gators taking on whoever wins the play-in game between Albany and Mount St. Mary's. Carl, you think there's going to be an upset?
Let me tell you something. The Albany Great Danes finished 4th in their regular season, and then they won their tournament. So they went through the grind here. There's a good chance you can see an upset here. I mean, Albany's playing right now versus Mount St. Mary's. Who knows what's going to happen in that game? If Albany comes out of it, I like their chances versus Florida.
Scott, what do you think?
I'm thinking Albany's going to carry their hot streak from the America East tournament right into the NCAAs.
Yeah, they're going to do it right to a round 1 loss to Florida. We're not even writing Albany. We're writing Florida. I'm sorry.
We start over.
Oh, good. I already had that.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
Florida it is.
I hate you. The second match.
Second matchup features Colorado and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh from the ACC.
Yeah.
Yeah, all this conference changeover has got me all screwed up here this year. I like Pittsburgh. I never liked Colorado in a year. I don't see why I would like them this year.
I concur with you, Carl. I would have Pitt to move on. Scott, you got any stats that tell us we're wrong?
Not to tell you you're wrong, tell you you're right. Colorado isn't that great. Pittsburgh is decent.
If Colorado's not that great, Scott, why are they an 8 seed?
Would you say they're overseeded here, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, what do they play in are they in the Pac-10 or 12? Big 12. Yeah, I mean,
they're not in
that's how.
You know what they're not in? It's the next
round.
Writing down Pitt. Oh, Scott, yours off.
All right, third matchup of the South bracket is VCU versus Stephen F. Austin, 12 seed. I'm thinking Stephen F. Austin here in an upset.
I was thinking the same thing, Scott. I've had Stephen F. Austin pegged for a few weeks now, and I really think that they can beat VCU and give a former Cinderella a taste of their medicine.
I like VCU here just because I like VCU. What does Stephen F. Austin have in a year? 3 losses, 4 losses, 2 losses?
Only 2.
2 losses, huh?
They're also lumberjacks.
Wow, that's correct.
Big thing.
All right, so you guys are going with Stephen F. Austin?
Yes, we are.
All right.
Write down VCU. Don't listen to him. He's an Xavier fan. Which brings us to our next matchup, the 4 seed UCLA versus 13 Tulsa Golden Hurricane. Well, I don't really think Tulsa has much of a chance for the upset. I like the Bruins. Scott?
I'm going with UCLA in this one. They just have the experience, and they're a stronger team than Tulsa.
I'd also like to point out really quick that Scott has 0 notes on Tulsa. That's never
Exactly.
a good sign for a team. UCLA. Carl, do you have anything to add?
My opinion doesn't matter this year. You guys are just going to take over as soon as it'll be the Joe and Scott selection show, and I'll be the
Slowly weeding you out.
He's figuring it out, folks. So, Carl, why don't you lead us off in our hometown Buffalo bracket here, huh?
Oh yeah, a little Buffalo, New York action. We got Ohio State and Dayton for the Battle of Ohio. I hate Dayton, and I hate Ohio State.
But who do you hate more, Carl?
Dayton, a lot more.
Yeah. As a result,
I'll go Buckeyes, I guess.
well, I'm also going with Ohio State. I don't think Dayton has what it takes to beat them in the first round. Scott, what do you think?
I actually did pick Dayton. I think they're a good offensive team, and I think Ohio State's been inconsistent. So,
Okay.
Not that it matters.
Scott thinks it's going to be an upset. Joe and Carl don't. I'd usually go with the Joe and Carl. So we're going to go Ohio State. Scott, this one seems like a game that you're paying very close attention to.
It is. It's kind of scary, the way Syracuse has been playing, but it's Syracuse versus Western Michigan.
Champions of the MAC.
Yeah, go Mac.
I mean, they do have a chance of upsetting, but I don't think it's going to happen here. I think Syracuse is going to pull it out.
Carl?
I don't want to be that guy. I'll go with Syracuse in early rounds here.
I too will take Cuse.
We'll start our shit a little bit later.
It's almost as though this is the upset. All right. right.
4 years in the studio and we're still cracking jokes like it's our first day.
Best friends forever.
All right, I wouldn't go that far.
And that brings us to the 7-10 matchup. New Mexico versus Stanford. Now, Carl, a lot of people are saying that New Mexico got kind of boned in their seating. Do you agree?
I was too busy writing New Mexico down.
Exactly. Scott?
I agree. New Mexico is definitely a way better team than Stanford, and they're going to move on.
What do you got written there for Stanford there, Scott?
Pretty much weak Pac-10 team.
There you go.
There's nothing that really stood out to me.
Weak.
And
Weak.
their mascot
Scott.
is the Cardinal, correct?
No, they're the. Are they?
Cardinal. It's not plural either for some weird reason.
Tree?
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
going to ask you. Is it a tree or a bird?
Cardinals live in trees.
Apparently it's
Is that what it
tree.
is? All right,
I don't know.
moving on.
Well, it's a school of people smarter than us, supposedly, so it doesn't matter.
I can't even spell Mexico correct, so they probably got me beat.
It's cool, it's new. That brings us to our last first round matchup of the region, Kansas Jayhawks versus Eastern Kentucky. Carl, what do you see happening here?
Well, there won't be a Florida Gulf Coast University upset this year, at least in this game, so I'm going with Kansas.
Scotty?
Kansas.
Yeah, this one's pretty cut and dry. Kansas moves on. So we got our third round matchups. The first one would be Florida Gators versus number 9 Pitt Panthers. I like Pitt, but I don't like them that much. I think Florida will play them pretty well and kind of walk out with a double-digit win out here. Scott?
I agree. Florida's one of the hottest teams in the country right now. They're on a 26-game win streak.
But are they fast?
Well, fast there.
Okay. Well,
I mean, they're an SEC team, so I mean, naturally they're all fast. Right?
Why don't you take the next game, Carl?
That'll be the upset, Stephen F. Austin versus UCLA. Usually people try to get cute when they pick their first round upsets. They think they're going to keep going, so on and so forth, and that's how your brackets essentially get ruined. So I'm going to take UCLA here.
I mean, you make an interesting point there, but wasn't it just a year or two ago where a 12 seed was playing a 13 seed?
Yeah.
So maybe that wasn't the worst of decisions. I'm just saying, folks. I, though, will agree with you, and you go with UCLA. Scott, do you think there's a room for a second upset?
I think there is room. I think if anybody was going to pull out an upset, it could be Stephen F. Austin, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think UCLA is going to go.
Well, there you go, folks. Three-way sweep for UCLA. Moving on. All right, Ohio State versus Syracuse. I'm not going to lie, this is where it ends for Syracuse, who's been absolutely terrible for the last month. Scott?
I think it all hinges on the offense. If Syracuse can start shooting well,
Homer.
I think they're going to beat Ohio State, so I'm going to take Syracuse, at least for this round.
I mean, they didn't go 25-0 for no reason, right? I mean, they have talent.
It's kind of a story of a game between two teams that were really good in the beginning and then kind of just fell off the face of the earth.
I'm going to put them through for one more round.
One more round?
One more round.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Syracuse, moving on.
Survivor of the weekend, I
I
think.
think this is further than they went in their own conference tournament. Scott, take us into New Mexico. Scott, take us into New Mexico, Kansas.
New Mexico, Kansas, I think it's actually going to be a pretty exciting game. I think Kansas is going to pull it out. They're going to go past this round, but I don't think they're going to get much farther.
Carl, how do you feel about that?
I'll also go Kansas here, which apparently I also can't spell.
No,
I missed the N both times.
that looks like a B.
Yeah.
Kansas. Okay. Well, Kansas is moving on, although I kind of wanted to go with New Mexico. I guess it all hinges on the health of Kansas, but here we are. Okay, so here are our Sweet 16 matchups. Florida, UCLA. Carl?
I like Florida still. I mean, they're the number 1 seed overall for a reason.
Touch your face.
I don't even know anybody on UCLA's roster, to be 100% honest here.
That's also true. I also don't know anybody on the roster, so that's how much we pay attention. Scott?
Florida.
Okay.
Syracuse, Kansas.
I think actually I was looking forward to this game from when the brackets came out because just looking at Kansas, they're not consistent from the 3, and I think that's what you need to beat Syracuse if Syracuse is playing their 2-3 really well. So I'm actually going to be a homer again and pick Syracuse just for that, not even trying to play favorites here.
I mean, you realize in the game of basketball you have to score points in order to beat the other team.
Yes.
Okay.
Carl makes a very good point. So Carl, would I assume then that you're going with Kansas?
Yes, and I tried to spell it correctly this time.
You did. I think I'm going to go with Kansas too. Not so much to spike Scott, but because I didn't even think they were going to beat Ohio State, so I can't really have them going on further if I, I already told them, hey.
Yeah, you
bro.
were ready to kick into the curb.
Right? Okay, so gentlemen, Florida, Kansas. Who's going to the Final Four, gentlemen?
It's a little cliche to take a #1 seed so early and send them all the way, but I like Florida here.
I too was going to go with Florida.
That
Scott?
has to happen sometimes, so you just got to pick #1. It's Florida.
#1 for a reason.
All right, and we'll be back with the East bracket in just a few moments. Or, instantaneously when YouTube.
Go.